Hello and welcome to Blue Club Sports. The time has come. I've been working very hard on getting a special guest in today, and we got that special guest in right now. His name is Topher. He's from Austin. I know him personally. And Topher, just introduce yourself. Say what teams you are a fan of, what sports you're into, all the good stuff.
All right, no problem. How's it going, guys? My name's Topher. So recently, I would say in the past 2 years, I've got really into soccer. And some of the teams that I follow in soccer, starting in the Premier League, which is my preferred to probably watch. I think it's a lot more better and entertaining. Would be Manchester United. And then coming to the States for MLS, um, originally LAFC, but Austin got a team 2 years ago. So obviously, me being from Austin, Austin FC was my choice. And yeah, other than soccer, football, I don't really follow that much anymore. Due to me being hard-headed in personal reasons, but I used to watch the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So those will probably be the teams I watch. I don't really watch baseball or basketball as much, but those are the sports I tend to follow the most.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting. You went from LAFC to Austin, and we'll talk about MLS and I think another segment because first we're going to talk about the World Cup. Yeah, and um, I refer you as my MLS expert. I was always picking your brain, but like I said, we'll do an MLS segment. This segment we'll do the World Cup, but we'll get into all that when we when we get to that segment about MLS. But so you're new to football, the football that we all know, world football, and this is your first World Cup watching since following the sport. So, what have you heard about the World Cup? Are you do you think this is the biggest tournament the sport has to offer, or you still think you prefer club football over international?
Um, yeah, so since I've been following this will be my official first year watching it. I have watched the World Cup a few other times before, but never took it serious, right? Because didn't really follow football then. Um, in my opinion, is this like the biggest tournament? Probably not. I still prefer to watch club football instead. Where you get a mix of players from different nationals instead, and that way. So I prefer club football over World Cup. I tried to do a little bit of research for the World Cup. Did still have some questions about it, and like I said, guys, I'm new to football, so
Yeah.
still had a few questions about it. But I'm excited to see, as we're airing this right now, Ecuador versus Qatar is playing,
Yeah.
and so I'm excited to see, what the World Cup has to offer.
Yeah. I would say just putting it out there first and foremost, I think the biggest drawback from international football compared to club football is, just look at this World Cup, for example. There's no Erling Haaland. That's the biggest name that's not there. Not because he's not good enough to play, but his team didn't qualify. So you'll have big players that didn't qualify for this tournament. Oh, the Italian team's loaded. In my opinion, they're the defending Euro champions, but they didn't qualify for the tournament. So that's the only drawback I feel is the World Cup. You don't have the 32 best teams. You have the best teams from each, geographical region. So UEFA, so there's some teams that are actually talented. Like you can't argue that Italy's worse than Costa Rica, but Costa Rica's there because they went through CONCACAF and Italy's in UEFA, so they have to qualify through their process. That's the only drawback I see from international. But
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, not to cut you off, but just also like what I kind of learned from this World Cup is that a lot of our generation's biggest stars. This is going to be their last World Cup.
Oh
And it
yeah.
sucks for me as a new viewer because I'm not going to see Cristiano Ronaldo next year in the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Lionel Messi, and then during this World Cup right now, the timing. What I learned is different. Now it's in the winter when it's usually not. So it's kind of sucks of how they put it in the middle of a regular season. And because of that, Benzema, he's not going to be able to play this World Cup because of the injury, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That being his last World Cup.
It could be. It could be. I know he's north of 30 years old, so that's a big loss. And I was telling you on, I gave you a little sneak peek of my predictions before I did the videos here, but Benzema, I really didn't want to give have France advance out of the group. I think they're the big shock. They're gonna miss out making it to the knockout rounds. But I was telling you, Australia and Tunisia, they're just really garbage. But it still could happen. I could be, wrong, but I think it was too much of a stretch for me to say France is not going to qualify. But there's a lot of players they have that are not, that are important and they're injured or they're missing out. So yeah, it's very interesting. But to go back to what you were saying, yeah, Messi's last World Cup, Ronaldo's last World Cup, and even Neymar's last World Cup. So basically, the generation, if you were following football in the 2010s, there's a lot of stars that you looked up to or enjoyed watching play, and they're not going to be, that's their last one. But Topher, so you're pretty optimistic about the U.S. men's national team, and I'm not. I already said my opinion on them. I don't like the coach. I don't like the captain of the team, Christian Pulisic. He's this is the same guy that criticizes the fans for not coming to a meaningless friendly against Morocco on a Wednesday night. Um, this is the same guy that has his dad defending him on Twitter, like if he's a 10-year-old in a little league team. And this is a guy that he's so salty and he's so petty. He has to go and write a book critiquing former managers and people he's worked with in the past. Um, I just don't like this team. I think they're too inexperienced, and I feel like the American soccer media, I do not trust them whatsoever. I think they're in full propaganda mode trying to push this US team onto us. Go watch the USA, this World Cup, and they're peddling lies, in my opinion. They're not ready to win. There's a lot of inexperience. They make it seem like these players are playing in, the top teams in Europe, where, yes, they're playing in Europe. I'll give them credit for that. But they're playing in the Eredivisie in Netherlands, and they're playing in the Championship in England. It's you know I'm not against MLS player a portion of the players playing in MLS as long as they get consistent game time. And there's I know I crap on MLS just to like make you mad and stuff. I'm actually wearing my New York City jersey, to add to the joke. But um I feel like these players, there's some players that are playing in the championship or playing in lower leagues in Europe. It's the same level as MLS, so they should just stay in MLS where they get, for sure game time and all that good stuff. But yeah, what's your opinion on the men's national team? Because I don't want to spoil it for the viewers, but you told me what you think about them. I thought you were joking, so I'm gonna give you one last chance to put your opinion out there. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, so the U.S. men's team. All right, so I am very optimistic about them. And of course, me being an American, I want USA to win. But, I just don't want to accept the reality that, yeah, the U.S. men's national team is not really that good. But I will be rooting for them in the corner. And like I said, I don't have a lot of knowledge with the other teams, so I can't really tell you, who do I really think is going to win and stuff like that. I can tell you the teams that I'll be following. Of course, I'm going to be following the U.S. and rooting for them. I'm going to be rooting for Portugal, even though I know they're probably not that good either. But hey, I'm a Ronaldo fan, so I'm going to follow them. And so I can't really say that much about the U.S. team. I just have high hopes for them, and I hope I don't know, they found something, man. They got a genie ball or something like that, and gave them some magic to win this or to even compete in this tournament.
Okay, so so if you were to say I think this team's gonna win, who would it be? Or you would say that's not my expertise there.
I wouldn't be able to give you I can joke around and tell you who I don't want to win just to troll you a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I know who you're
I
gonna
don't have
say. I know who you're gonna say.
I don't have the expertise for that
Yeah.
to give an actual comment on who do I think is really going to win. So I'm going to take this World Cup as an opportunity for me to watch as much games as possible to get a better knowledge in the national teams. And then 4 years from now, I think it is right every four.
Yes, it's every
Um,
4 years.
I will that time if we do this again.
Hmm.
I'll have a better understanding and I can give you a real thought of who I think is going to win.
Of course. And just to circle back, you mentioned how it's interrupting the major European leagues. It's in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong? This is kind of like it's not the best ideal situation. So to cover it briefly, and for the casual fans watching, basically this tournament um, was given to Qatar. The hosting rights were given to Qatar. There was obvious bribery involved. It actually, when they awarded this World Cup to Qatar, it began the end of FIFA. A lot of people got indicted, tax evasion. The FBI like took down most of the people in FIFA. So it was the beginning of the end because we all knew FIFA was corrupt back then, but when they gave it to Qatar, it was like, wow, it's obvious. And it was Qatar and USA. USA was going to host the tournament alone. So honestly speaking, if FIFA weren't corrupt, we would have the World Cup here. It would be in the summer. It wouldn't be in the winter. And yeah, it would. That's how it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. Because honestly, the only league the World Cup usually interrupts is MLS, but MLS I think always takes like a 2 week recess. Um, it's kind of I think it's kind of mean. I always make the joke they do only do 2 weeks because they know the U.S. is gonna crash out of the group and they'll be back in 2 weeks. But yeah, it's not like this. There's a lot of critiques, and then if you there's a lot of political stuff as well involved with this. Um, but yeah, it at the end of the day, this tournament is kind of like it shouldn't be in Qatar, and everyone knows it. But yeah, it's just the way it is.
So if it was hosted in the U.S., where would they host the game at? Like at GT Stadium?
No, they would host it at Yankee Stadium. Actually, one of the best MLS stadiums in the circuit.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh yeah.
but yeah, the U.S. is like I think the U.S. and Spain, Germany, England. Those are like the countries where I think of that they're ready for a World Cup. They can literally host a World Cup on a month's notice. There's the infrastructure there. There's hotels everywhere. The stadium's already built. The only thing with the U.S. is these NFL teams where you're gonna have to host these games in NFL stadiums with the amount of demand for the tickets and all that. But it's the issue is they play on the fake artificial grass or they play on turf, and they're not supposed to be even playing on turf. They're supposed to be on natural grass like the NFL teams, but they don't really care. It's cost effective and all that, and that's why you see all these when you were following the league. That's why there's always ACL tears because it's mostly due to the surface they're running on. There's not. It's not. It's super easy to hurt yourself on that type of surface. And with FIFA, if they were to come in, they would have to take the turf out and put natural grass in. But any closing remarks, Toph? We're already approaching time. If you want to close it out.
No, man. Yeah, no. Just I'm like I said, I'm excited to see this World Cup. And I am planning to watch every single game. I mean, it's every day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I think they only take a couple of days off for the World Cup, but I'll be excited to watch it. And maybe we can do another segment about this in the mid World Cup, and I can give you a better idea of what teams I feel like it's going to go through.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, guys. We'll have more of Topher's analysis or Topher's guest appearance. I'll do 2 more episodes. And thank you for watching Blue Club Sports. You guys have a good day.